What's up, folks? Kevin Thomas, John Epps here. Week 3, Moving the Chains preview show. John, give us some quick week 2 thoughts while I tweet this out right quick, and then we'll get into the show here.
Well, first thing that I caught up on today, I guess Mallow Creek's not as good as they thought they were, or as good as they used to be. Because South Point,
And I think that was, South Point of North Carolina. I saw there's some conflicting score reports going around. I've seen that South Point and South Carolina got canceled against them. I've seen they played, so I don't really know what happened in that game, but I saw that too.
Interesting.
So we're going to have to do some research on that. If somebody is from South Point, certainly let us know, because obviously we weren't there. But yeah, I saw a tweet last week saying the game was getting canceled, but then I saw a score pop up for that game. So I don't really know what's going on with that one. So if you do know, feel free to let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys, so we can kind of track and see what's going on here in the state. But yeah, if that did happen, that certainly was a big one for South Point. But anyway, continue, John.
And then Greenwood, also in the York County area, being Catawba Ridge. Your or my team of the week, Greenwood.
Yep.
Greenwood. Yeah, I mean that was an impressive one. I thought Catawba Ridge is probably going to win that game. And Greenwood, they really are tough.
Mm-hmm. That was a big win for them, going on the road to Catawba Ridge to get that win. Any other games that jumped out at you, John, here?
Carolina Forest got back on track. They went up across the border. Actually, New Hanover came over from North Carolina to play them. They got back in their winning ways, a 28-0 win for the Panthers. A little bit of a low-scoring game for them, but good to see them get back on track after getting beat by Fort Dorchester really bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that Fort Dorchester team, man, they're good.
They must be.
They are good. They are good. But anyway, welcome in. Kevin Thomas, John Epps here, Moving the Chains. This is your first time here on Facebook. Like our video, like our page, share it, tell all your friends. You see it, Moving the Chains SC. Super simple. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at just Moving Chains under John's name there. You see MOVINCHAINS. If you guys want to hear the audio-only version that goes up later tonight, that'll be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever. You can check it out there. Also on YouTube if you want to follow up and see us there. We're also on that outlet. But, John, like we do every week, we're going to run through our games of the week, our 4 biggest ones, kind of give a quick breakdown of those. And we're going to hit some of the statewide games that we're looking forward to, and then go over some of the pick'em leaders and whatnot from there. But, John, our first big game of the week here is one that we're going to try to go to actually Friday night, and that's Ridgeview at Gray Collegiate. Ridgeview was off last week. They were scheduled to play Sumter, but that game got canceled due to COVID. So Ridgeview, their last game, they beat North Augusta 29-14, which was one of our games of the week back in week 1. They've got a QB, Washington. He's kind of a dual threat guy. Kelly, the running back, has had a good season. The receiver, Agnew's a good player there. A couple different guys on defense, Guest, Gamble, and Mason. While Gray Collegiate, they just keep on rolling. They beat Legion Collegiate 42-0 last week. Through 3 games, KZ Adams, one of my favorite players, has 556 on the ground and 7 TDs. QB Trey Robinson's also a multi-year starter there, John. I know this is 5A versus 2A. What do you see happening in this matchup at Gray Collegiate between them and Ridgeview?
I think Ridgeview wins the game, but I think this is going to be a really, really close game. I think this is going to be a game where Gray can win it. I think they'll be in it late in the game. I'm just a little bit concerned, like you, 2A to 5A. Do they have the depth to compete with the 5A team? Or it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be, it's still hot out. You're gonna have some attrition. You're gonna have some guys getting tired, and I don't know if Gray has enough guys to be able to keep up with that. But in week 1, they played the defending lower state champs out of 3A, Camden.
That's right.
NZIP Stadium, and just wore them out.
And they also, they beat another 3A school, Oceanside Collegiate. I believe that would have been week technically 1 or whatever. However that works out there. They did win that game as well. So they're used to playing some of the big boys. John, this is just, like I said, 3 classifications is a big jump. And they're sitting some scrub. Ridgeview is, I think, top 5 in 5A right now. So they are certainly a good ball team. I would love to see Gray Collegiate win this game. But I just don't know if they're going to have the depth and the firepower to make it happen. But that should be a great ball game for sure Friday night.
And the best player on the field is on Gray's sideline.
That is true.
And that could be the difference too.
That is true. Got a couple comments here. Chris Bland said, "What's up? Week 3 and Swirl 100 week. What's up, man?" Well, Patrick says, "What's up?" Tyrell Foxborough Jr. said he came over from Twitter. So appreciate you, Tyrell. That's what we're trying to get you from Twitter to Instagram and to Facebook, and follow us everywhere. So appreciate you guys for doing that and tuning in. But John, so that's going to be a big-time game. I think I'm going to lean Ridgeview just because of the size and the depth they're going to have over Gray, but I would love nothing more than to see Gray win this ball game.
And I think they might.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for me to pick that one. I want to pick Gray. If I didn't know what class Ridgeview was, I'd pick Gray.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, and move on to our second game of the week here. This is Greenwood, John's team of the week last week. They're going down to North Augusta playing at the Jackets Nest. Greenwood coming off a 17-14 victory over Catalpa Ridge, a team that was, I think, ranked number 3 in 2A last week, and they've kind of dropped now. But, the QB Rafley, the running backs, Morton and Still, we saw those guys play week 0 against Hillcrest. Offense looked great then, that was week 0, so I'm sure they've gotten even better since then.
Yeah, and, their defense, they gave up some points against Hillcrest there in the second half of that game that we were at. But, they were all over Hillcrest. They had, they could play a little bit bend or break. And then they played last week where you can't bend.
Mm-hmm.
And they put it on a Catalpa Ridge team that has a ton of talent all over the field. So I think Greenwood, we were thinking, hey, maybe they were really good last year because they had, 20, 30 seniors
30 seniors, I believe, something like that, yeah.
I think it's the program. It's not just having 12th graders. It's the program. They look like a veteran team, know what they were doing in week 0.
Yeah, great coach there, Chris Lano. We talk about him a lot. But, one thing that impressed me last week, John, was that we talked about Jaden Davis, the QB at Catalpa Ridge, number 1 prospect in 2024. They held him to about 170 yards passing, I think. Held Catalpa Ridge about 270 overall, which is a very good defensive performance. Like we mentioned, we saw them in week 0. They gave up some passes deep to Hillcrest late, so that kind of worried me going into that game last week. But they also short that up some, it seems like, for sure. But North Augusta on their side of the ball, they beat Grovetown out of Georgia 28-19 last week. That's coming off a loss to Ridgeview 2 weeks ago for them, so that was good for them to get back on the track there. The QB, I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, how they kind of going back and forth. It's like they've gone to the transfer Colson Brown again. He's back at the QB spot, so we'll see how that works out for them. Their running back, where's my note here on him? DJ Curry averaging about 100 yards a game. They got a good receiver, Gamble there, a wide receiver. And one thing I like about these guys, I don't know if we talked about it much or not, is that they've got 2 college-ready tackles, right and left tackle. The guys getting offers. Got a big O-line there to kind of protect that quarterback there. And like I mentioned, too, they've got a great kicker, the Stevens kid. Always kicking touchbacks, can make field goals there. Them playing home against Greenwood, what do you see happening here in this game Friday night, John?
I think North Augusta is good enough to make Greenwood play a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Greenwood's got to play a good game to win the game. If it's a game where they're off, they just don't have it, they'll lose. But I think if Greenwood comes out and does what they expect to do and they execute their game plan, I think they win. His special teams is so big. Having a good kicker is a really big deal at all levels of football, especially on the high school level. But I love the way Greenwood plays special teams too. Yeah. We saw it against Hillcrest that they're very strategic in them kicking the ball off. I think Greenwood's just the better team here. They got to play well because North Augusta's good. I just don't think they're as good as Greenwood.
And, I sound like a broken record with this, I'm sure, every week about Greenwood, but the offense is tough to prepare for. If you don't see that week in, week out, or just, often throughout the conference, it's going to shock you a little bit. And I'm trying to think about that conference down there with who North Augusta plays in. I don't think they see a lot of triple option. So, a non-conference guy, if this is a region team, you obviously probably prepare some during the summer for this and whatnot, but with it being a non-conference foe, you wonder if they even prepare against triple option until week of the game. So that's tough to do with it. I think I'm leaning Greenwood as well. I think they continue to roll here early in the season. A couple comments here from Dadrian Robinson said Louisville versus Richmond Minetta. That'll be a great game. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And then Derek Bethea, Lakeview, Hannah Pamplico. I got news for you, buddy. We're about to talk about that game right now. So that's our third game of the week here, John. This is one that got scheduled, actually, I believe, Monday or Sunday due to some cancellations. Lakeview is going to play Green Sea Floyd's. Hannah Pamplico is going to play Johnsonville. That got both those teams had to cancel. So Lakeview is now traveling to Hannah Pamplico in a top 10 matchup in 1A, John. Lakeview coming off a 48-18 victory over East Clarendon. Hannah Pamplico coming off a 22-12 victory over Manning. How do you like the Wild Gators and the Raiders here Friday night, John?
Yeah, it's fun. We'll see Hannah Pamplico getting to the top 10 for the first time this season. Lakeview's been hanging around there all year. I think Lakeview wins it. I think Lakeview's probably a little bit better of a team here. Going on the road, I don't know if it's going to be that big of a difference. It's not a huge trip for Lakeview. So I think Lakeview's going to win this game. I think they've got a really good team this year. And we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how the 1A teams sort themselves out and around that PD region.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of teams that, hey, we don't really know how great they are compared to one another. Lamar, Hannah Pamplico, Lakeview. Be interesting to see.
You know, one thing I want to mention here, we talked about it in the past, John, is that, you know, we love to see coaches who adapt to their players. You know, just because you like running the ball, if you got a team that's better at passing the ball, you got to adjust and whatnot. And that's something that Lakeview's done well this year. When you think of Lakeview, or when I do at least, I think about them just pounding the ball, you know, some option stuff, running the ball heavy, things like that. This year, they have been open to passing it a lot more. They've got the kid DJ Bethea, the quarterback, can really sling it around. They're two good receivers. They've got Dawkins and Page at receiver that can really catch the ball. So Coach King down there has done a great job of kind of opening up that playbook and kind of playing to their strengths. You know, Hannah Pamplico, I think they've only played one game this year, so they're still kind of finding their way. I do like the QB poster and the running back Edie. They've got a linebacker, the Kelly kid, getting some D1 looks, so they've got some talent there for sure. I think Lakeview goes on the road and wins this ball game. I do too. So that'll be a big win for those guys. That should be a lot of fun there. I'm sure Derek will keep us updated on that game. He'll be down there, I'm sure. And then our fourth and final game of the week. This, I think, maybe the only top 5 matchup in the state, John. Well, I guess technically Ridgeview Gray is, but
within the same classification.
Yeah, top 5 in the same classification. Derek said DJ used to throw it like his daddy. Well, he's got it figured out right now, Derek. I tell you that. So our last game of the week here is Brooklyn KC at Chapman. BC, I think, only played one game as well. Yeah. Last week they beat Blythewood 14-3, stepped up a couple classifications there and got that win. Listen to this stat line here from their linebacker Owen Payne, John. 12 tackles, a pick, and a fumble recovery. Okay. So big game there in a defensive battle for sure. You know, they've got a good quarterback in Staten. Chapman, you guys heard us talk about Chapman. We love Chapman. Settle's a good quarterback. The knock kid can really run it. Love DJ Blackett receiver. He's averaging 149 yards a game. This defense is still young. It's still coming along, as we saw them give up some points to Burns. Give up a little bit to Bowling Springs last week as well. I think Chapman, John, while this is a top 5 matchup, I think Chapman probably wins by 2+ scores.
I would not be surprised. I don't know much about BC this year. They were a team last year that was last few years they've been pretty good. They went 4-3 last year. But boy, when they lost, they got beat up. They struggled defensively last year. The games they lost, they gave up 42 to Strong Thurman, gave up 56 to a very good Gilbert team. Yep. But you know, that's a big number. And then they lost in the playoffs, a game that they were very competitive with Camden, but they lost that game 52-44. The first game against Blythewood, total opposite. Yeah. Only give
a lot of defense.
3.
A lot of defense.
So I'll be interested. Okay, is Brooklyn Casey, do they make that much of a turn from last year to this year? Or have they got that defense shored up a little bit more? Because if they don't, Chapman is going to light up the scoreboard.
Yeah, those boys can score. We know that.
And the other thing, they're not playing. If they're playing in the cage down there in Casey, it'd be a little bit different. But coming up to Chapman, it's a long bus ride, and it's an intimidating atmosphere. Just the way that Chapman plays, it's going to be a packed crowd. They play some music. They have a good time up there. That's going to be a tough game for BC, but that's going to be a fun game to see how good is BC. Because I think they're probably a pretty good team.
You know, we talk about how a lot of improvement comes from week 1 to game 1 to game 2. So Brooklyn Casey could take a step forward. I mean, the defense looked great, but that offense has got to score more than 14 points to be Chapman for sure. So interesting to see how that goes. Quick shout out to Troy and Kevron, Norman, Derek, Tyrell in here, Dadrian, Mark is in here, Thomas, guys, all the guys tuning in. We appreciate you guys for that. So to recap really quick, our 4 games of the week: Ridgeview at Gray Collegiate, Greenwood at North Augusta, Lakeview at Hannah Pamplico, and Brooklyn Casey at Chapman. So, John, while you get the statewide schedule ready, I'm going to give our quick shout out to our sponsors here. The George Agency. These guys have been with us since the beginning. They've been serving the insurance needs of SC for over 35 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet. They can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, etc. So wherever you are, they can help. Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew, give them a call. Check them out at thegeorgeagency.net and give them a follow and tell them that the Moving the Chains boys sent you over there too. And then also our new sponsor, Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. They have a clear purpose to improve financial lives of their members. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees that other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, Security Advantage is here to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at SecurityAdvantageFCU.com. That's SecurityAdvantageFCU.com. Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. Win at banking, thrive at life. Member NCUA. So a big shout out to the Georgia Agency and Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. Thank you guys for being a part of our show. And if you guys want to get your business in, give us a call, shoot us an email, DM, whatever. We'd love to have you on board. John, Derek says he'll try to keep us updated. Appreciate that. So definitely do that. Derek, send us some messages or whatever you got to do. We'll be here waiting and excited to see how that game goes. But John, let's run through the statewide scoreboard there, and I'll kind of tell you if a game's been canceled. Hopefully we haven't had as many so far this week, so hopefully that stays the case. But we'll keep going that way and throw in some comments if we have any, I guess.
So one game to note for Thursday night here in the upstate, Greer will be head to Southside Christian.
Yep.
I think Southside Christian wins that ball game. I think they're a really good team. I know it's what is that 1A to
1A to 4A. Yeah, I will say Greer had a nice win last week over Westside, but that was kind of a depleted Westside team. I think they only traveled 25 guys due to COVID, including their quarterback who was out. So good win for Greer last week. Still don't trust the quarterback there they have, so we'll see how that works out.
And good job by Westside. Almost winning that game.
Yeah. Westside played tough. I mean, it might be a shocker, if you look at 1A, 4A, but I think Southside Christian probably has a little more talent than what Greer does. The Martin kid at quarterback is a really good player there for them. I can see the Sabres winning this game at home for sure.
I think they are going to win because of what happened last week. Southside's got more players than 25.
Yes, they do.
And the guys that they've got are pretty doggone good. They're probably better than the 25 guys that Westside had last week. Nothing on Westside. They didn't have anybody. They didn't have a quarterback playing either. Southside's going to have all their guys, and they're very good, and they're going to be playing at home. And that's a cool little atmosphere. If you get a chance to go to the Southside game, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. I don't know a whole lot about private school football, but they do a good job there. Yeah. So then we roll into Friday, and we got some really good games Friday. So fingers crossed, some of these PD and Grand Strand teams
still
get to play, because a lot of them haven't yet. But Myrtle Beach planning to go to Oceanside Collegiate. Play that game down in Charleston.
That'll probably be on our pick'em, so just make sure you get in there for that. Oceanside kind of bounced back last week with a nice win over C.E. Murray after losing two tough ones there to Huff, or was it Butler out of North Carolina? One of the other.
I believe it was Huff.
Huff, and then also to Gray.
Pretty strong North Carolina.
Lost to Gray as well in week 1, so big win for them last week. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm excited to see Myrtle Beach get on the field for once, so that'll be nice to see.
I hope they can.
See Berger and Randall and those guys slinging around a little bit for sure.
We've got West Florence, a 2-0 West Florence team. They will be going across the border playing West Brunswick. A 2-0 ranked May River team will host Wade Hampton. That's Wade Hampton in the Low Country. The Central Pageland Eagles, they will go across the state line as well. They will play Piedmont out of, I believe that's Monroe, North Carolina, where those guys are located.
I'll tell you a quick comment. It's weird. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's different to see a lot of these teams having to go out of state to find opponents. I've seen, some teams here in the upstate and also, like I said, in the PD region, having to go to North Carolina to find teams, and maybe some guys down around like the coast, like in the Beaufort area, going to Georgia to find teams. I know Daniel played a team from Georgia last week as well, so it's interesting to see what we're having to kind of do this week to get a full schedule out there.
And the South Carolina schools, for the most part, are doing pretty good.
Yeah, they're holding their own.
Daniel beat up on Duluth. Beaufort beat what I understand was the
Benedictine, right?
Benedictine out of Georgia. Apparently, that was a pretty big deal. So good for those guys. I think West Florence. I don't know anything about this West Brunswick school, but West Florence off to a good start.
They are.
Hunter Kinder Tyler not off to a good start. They're 0-3. They will host Bethune-Bowman on Friday. Now this game, I am glad this one has been canceled. South Florence, very good football team, was supposed to host Lugoff Elgin Friday.
Yeah.
Lugoff might just said, we're out.
They got canceled about 2 hours ago, so we'll see if South Florence can find a new matchup. We'll see. Keep an eye on that for sure.
A little bit more fire and ice here. 0-3 Pendleton team will host 3-0 Powdersville. So looking to see Powdersville probably going to win this game. Probably going to start.
I tell you what, they could have been team of the week for me 2 weeks in a row after a 10-9 win over Wren last week. A huge win there for the Patriots, and those boys keep on running. I know that, Thomas Williams, a good run back for them. They've got something going over there in Powdersville for sure.
I was talking about Wren last week, and I stand by what I said. I thought Wren, hey, they're probably the best 0-2 team in the state. They might be the best 0-3 team.
Yeah, Wren's they had no cupcakes so far for sure. Playing Dutch Fort, TL Hannon, and Powdersville. That's 3 tough matchups there for Wren. So hopefully they can get it turned around here and rolling soon before region play comes along.
McBee will host Timmonsville.
I believe that is canceled. I believe McBee is now playing. I think I just saw it here in the chat a minute ago. McBee is playing Blackville Hilda.
Okay.
R.I.P. McBee.
In
that one, I think. I don't think that's going to go well for the Panthers.
They had a better chance against Timmonsville.
We'll see.
Ainer will go on the road to play James Island. West Oak will host Dixie. Strom Thurmond is hosting, I don't know if this is right. Strom Thurmond is hosting a school called Josie, not out of the state of South Carolina. Potentially across state line.
I cannot confirm or deny that one.
McCormick is slated to host 96.
Yep, your boy Cam said Josie at Strom Thurmond, so it's confirmed. Okay.
All right.
I don't know anything about Josie. Go Strom Thurmond. Let's go.
First time I ever heard of them. Ware Schultz will host Greenwood Christian. Chesney will, I don't know who this school is, RS Central. That might be a team out of North Carolina as well. Then we've got Riverside hosting Eastside. A good chance for Riverside.
Riverside, another good win last week for those guys over Berea. Scored a lot of points on Berea that night for sure. Yeah. They did.
As I said, North Augusta will be hosting Greenwood in one of our games of the week. Marion, 2-0 Marion, they will be hosting a good Andrews team, but an Andrews team that has not yet played a game this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hemingway will host Great Falls. Great Falls 3-0 this year.
That one got scheduled today as well. So, I'm glad these teams are open to doing it for sure. So, and tell you what, if you're going down to Hemingway, stop by Scott's Barbecue. You got to get in there. Your boy Cam said Josie's in Augusta, Georgia. So there you go, John. The more you know. The more you know.
Close trip. Mm-hmm. Now, I saw Hilton Head was supposed to play Blackville Hilda. Mm-hmm. They are now scheduled to play Lake Marion. I don't know if that is legit, though.
I believe that is correct. Yeah, I believe I did see no, somebody from that area is going to Lake Marion. I'm not sure if it's Hilton Head or not, but could be.
South Point, South Carolina probably, is hosting Clover.
Clover actually just got canceled this afternoon as well. Yes. Yeah.
That could have been a good game.
Yes.
Hartsville is going to Conway. Conway has not played a game yet this year either. Mm-mm. Fort Mill will be hosting Lancaster.
I believe I saw, actually, going back to Conway, John, I saw that Conway has not even practiced for like 28 days. So you got to hate it for those kids. I mean, but just with this, the new rules, contact tracing and whatnot, quarantine, that's going to be a mess. But hopefully they can find a way to put together a good squad there Friday night.
Yeah. Hopefully they can get on the field. Malden will be hosting Wade Hampton. Wade Hampton here out of Greenville County.
Malden will be nice when they get back on the winning side there. Lost a tough one in the last minute to Greenville last Friday night. I tell you what, John, to recap that game real quick, I was pleasantly surprised with Malden's offense. Yeah. I knew they could shut down Greenville pretty well, giving up, 24 points, including that last minute touchdown. But Malden, I want to say, was down 17-7 or so late and scored 2 touchdowns late. So I think Deuce Caldwell caught 2 touchdown passes. So, if Malden can score 20-something points a game, they're going to win a lot of ball games with that defense they have.
And Caldwell's been doing great, and it's great. Hey, put him on the offensive side of the ball, let your athletes play. We've got Mullins will be hosting Lee Central. Midland Valley will be hosting Saluda. Scotch Branch hosting Baptist Hill. York will be hosting Union County. Eau Claire going on the road to Denmark OR. As I said, Lakeview going to Hannah Pamplico.
Yes.
That's going to be a big game for us. Dreer on the road to Mid-Carolina. Catawba Ridge will go to North Carolina. They will play West Cabarrus on Friday night. Not sure what kind of team West Cabarrus has. They're 1-1 in the season. Wren will host Easley. Wren should get a win on Friday.
I don't know. Easley beat somebody last week. Maybe Wade Hampton. I don't know. They beat somebody.
So does everybody.
But Wren needs to get on the board. They need a W this week.
We've got North Central will be hosting Blythewood. North Central, a good team out of 1A. Don't think they're going to have.
Is that not an odd matchup, right?
That is
1A,
a very odd
5A?
matchup.
Yeah,
and this might have been one where North Central need an opponent.
Maybe.
Hey, good for North Central.
Yeah. Hey, play them when you can. Line them up. Let's go.
They typically, back when I was in school, North Central would play Louisville Belgium to start the year every year. And they were very close games. And that's when Louisville Belgium wasn't bad.
Comment here from Cam said Wagner Sally's in quarantine. Yeah, I did see that. They had to cancel 2 games, I believe. Patrick says talks of Gaffney playing Catalpa Ridge or Chapman in week 5. Those would both be great matchups. Either way, they're if we can get either one of those scheduled, that would be awesome. But like we said, it's been tough for everybody to get games scheduled, so we'll see.
That would be very fun.
Either one of those would be really good matchups.
That would be very fun. Crescent will be hosting out of Georgia Hart County. As we said, Chapman hosting Brooklyn Casey. Really probably the biggest game in the state.
It's up there.
We'll see how good BC is. Berea will be hosting Carolina Academy. TL Hanna playing host to Belton Honeypath. Here's another bit of an odd matchup. Battery Creek hosting Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
Andrew Jackson making a pretty long trip to play down in Battery Creek. We've got Lakeview, as we said, hosting Hannah Pamplico.
On the road.
They're on the road to Hannah Pamplico.
Yep.
Woodmont will be hosting Palmetto. Hillcrest hosting Dorman. I tell you what, those 2 schools Dorman probably more so than Hillcrest needs to win in a really bad way. Both of those schools 1-2 right now.
Yeah.
Just
I
for the
saw
confidence.
Stephen Smith actually asked about that, Hillcrest Dorman. I want to say I saw a stat where Dorman Hillcrest had played, I don't know, 20-something times, whatever it is. Hillcrest won the very first one, have not beat Dorman since.
Oh, wow.
So that would be, and they've had some close ball games. A couple years ago over at Dorman, Hillcrest, I think, lost in a touchdown. It was a great ball game there. We watched that one, John. That'll be a good ball game. I was really surprised last week when Hillcrest lost to Spartanburg. Spartanburg being 0-2. I know the Jeter kid was coming back and whatnot, but I was surprised by Hillcrest giving up 40-something points. That really kind of shocked me. Dorman, like we said, got blew out. Not really blown out. Lost a couple scores to Fort Dorchester. Was probably closer than what we thought it was going to be. It sounds like they've kind of got the quarterback issue figured out. So honestly, it's going to be a high-score matchup, I think, Friday night between those two. And I think Dorman's probably going to pull it out. They seem to be a little bit more solid right now. But I don't know, John. I don't know. Who do you think wins that game?
I think Dorman wins the game. I think it's going to be a close game.
I do too.
I'd like to see Hillcrest play the entire game like they did the second half against Greenwood.
Or second half last week against Spartanburg. They were down big and came back, scored a lot late too. But if they can just get it going a little bit earlier, like you said, they can get it going, they can play with anybody. Because they've got a good quarterback, the Judy kid, the running back Coldren, the receivers, Jackson and McFadden and Wisniewski. They can all throw it around and catch a run. So if they can just kind of get it rolling, they can score and play on anybody for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think they have to get lucky. I think they've got the talent. I think they're good enough to beat Dorman straight up. Just can they put together more of a complete game than they have so far this season?
Yeah. Cam said you guys allow guests on the show. You're actually working on some interview stuff. So Cam, send us like a message on Messenger here, and we'll chat about some different stuff. So definitely hit us up about that for sure. But yeah, go ahead, John, with the rest of the statewide scores.
We've got Latta hosting Kingstree. C.A. Johnson will be hosting Keenan. Whitmire at home against Pelion. R.B. Stoll will be hosting Goose Creek. Chesterfield hosting East Clarendon. Beaufort, 3-0 Beaufort hosting West Ashley. Lamar will be on the road at Timberland. Clinton will be going to Swansea. River Bluff on the road at Berkeley. Branchville will be playing Bamberg Earhart. That's a pretty big game. Branchville won their first game. Bamberg Earhart 2-0. Very strong club. Allendale Fairfax hosting Wilson Elko. Silver Bluff will be hosting Fox Creek. Chester hosting Woodruff. And
actually, that is now Chester's playing. Go ahead, I'll find it. But Chester, that game got canceled. Chester's playing someone else now.
I don't know if Chester's played who they're supposed to play yet this year.
Chester's playing Northwestern now this weekend. So that could be an interesting matchup.
A throwback to the old Big 4A region. Okay. I don't know that Chester's got a chance in that one, but I'm glad.
Northwestern were good. Very good against Clover last week, that's for sure.
Lexington will play host to Airport. Burns will be going to West Side. Spartanburg on the road to Boiling Springs. Fairfield Central will be hosting Westwood. Manning will be hosting Waccamaw. Hartsville at home against Gilbert. That could be a really good game. Hartsville 0-2 this year, but I think they're pretty good.
I believe they had a lead on Camden last week and kind of blew it from what I heard kind of in the second half. But you don't see it often at Hartsville being 0-2 there.
Yeah, they've taken a little bit of a dip last few years. And Gilbert, on the other hand, they've been on a big rise lately. But Hartsville looking for the first win. They're 0-2 right now. Marlborough County will be hosting a pretty big program out of North Carolina, playing Scotland. They'll get that game at home, though. We've got Travelers Rest hosting Blue Ridge. Both of those schools looking for their first win. Seneca hosting Emerald. Stratford will be hosting Hanahan. Irma at home against Crestwood. Camden on the road against Lakewood. Sherrall hosting Loris. AC Flora hosting a 3-0 Lower Richland team.
Yeah.
Lower Richland have been surprising.
So we'll learn a lot about those guys. I think, we know AC Flora is good. Lower Richland, they're 3-0, but we're kind of got some reservations about them. So if they come out and play tough, even if they don't win the game, but keep competitive, that'll be a big step for those guys, the Diamond Hornets there.
Spring Valley on the road to Richland Northeast. A Richland Northeast team that's been a little bit better this year.
Yeah, I think 2-1 maybe.
They're 2-1. Both teams 2-1. I think Spring Valley is far better than R&E is, but that'll be a good game. That's a little bit of a rivalry that's not really talked about.
Yeah.
R&E's right there against Spring Valley territory. Gaffney supposed to be hosting Mallard Creek.
That is on as of now. I think Gaffney wins that game. I don't know 100% about Mallard Creek, but I want to say they're not quite as good as they usually are from what I've heard. So Be a good ball game over there, over at the reservation for sure.
And I think you mentioned something about this game earlier. Louisville supposed to host Rich Spring Minetta.
Yes, they are playing. They are playing. That's a good matchup down there in 1A for sure. I like
Louisville off to a great start.
I like both those teams a lot. They've both got a lot of talent. That could be a good ball game.
96 will be hosting Landrum. Fort Dorchester supposed to be hosting Goose Creek.
I want to say that is off now.
I think so too, because I think Goose Creek has got another opponent.
Okay, yeah, I believe that one is off.
And St. James supposed to be hosting Socastee, and then the game that we are going to down in West Columbia at Gray Collegiate hosting 5A 5th ranked the Ridgeview Blazers. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a fun game.
Yeah, that should be fun. I've seen a couple more get rescheduled. I think Daniel is now going across the border to play Hendersonville this Friday night. So that'll be an interesting game there. Anything else I saw that got rescheduled? That's all I see at this moment. Actually, Ainer is canceled. I just saw that come across there. And I think that's all I've seen that is going on. But yeah, so lots of moving parts. If we missed the game that you know of, let us know. If you want to hear us talk about one of these games we missed, definitely let us know. Oh, John, you didn't mention a big game here in the Upstate. Man at Greenville. How'd you miss that one, John? Amy, thank you for the comment there. We totally forgot about that one. Yeah, we talked about it the other day about maybe going there, so we definitely know about it. Greenville, like we mentioned, put off a big win last week for Malden. That was I know they're at home. I know it's a 5A Malden team. Big time win there for Greenville. Man, I think they also won. They got all they won again after losing Riverside 2 weeks ago. So they're 2-1. I think this game might get ugly for Man. I think Greenville is the better team. And I think Greenville probably puts it on Man pretty handily Friday night.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Mm-hmm. I think Greenville wins, but I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I'd say maybe 10-point game at worst. Mm-hmm. Greenville, hey, they've played great.
They have.
But they've played some close games.
Yeah, they won 2 games in the last minute, about 3 points. So hopefully they'll keep it going. But they've got some good talent there. Greenville. I
think Man is certainly better than Rock Hill. Mm-hmm. Greenville went right down to the wire against Rock Hill too. So I think this has potential to be a really, really good game too.
Should be a good ball game. I believe that is at Greenville in a Spring Stadium too. So that's always a help for the Red Raiders. But John, I think that wraps that up. Let's go through our pick'em leaders, and then we'll go over the polls that just came out today. If that's cool with everyone. So here are our week 2 pick'em leaders. Kane E goes a solid 9-1 there to take the first place spot. 2 guys tied at second, Chris B, Trevor F, both at 8-2. And then a handful there at 7-3, Curtis, Mark, Charlie, Chase, Brian, Kyle, Darius, and Brew. I went 8-2. John's treading water again, 500, hanging in there 5-5
every week.
So lots of good stuff there. Now let's look at our overall leaders. Like we said, we're going to drop the lowest score that you have throughout the season. So we started doing that this week, and we'll kind of revise it each week as we go. But here are our overall leaders 3 weeks into the season. Kane and Curtis tied with 16 each. Ryan's in there as well, tied at 16. Sorry for not highlighting your name there, Ryan. That was my fault on that one. Tied for 4th there, Chris, Trevor, Charlie, Tyler, and Kyle all there at 4th place. And tied for 9th, we've got Haley, Mark, and Mark all at 14. I'm sitting there at 16, John at 10. We still got a long way just to go, fellas, so don't stop making your picks. We'll post those probably tomorrow, the 10 games. We're still waiting to kind of see how this all shakes out. I love to get it out to you guys on a Monday, but just with the cancellations, it's hard to stay on top of this thing. We don't want to send it out and have 5 games canceled. If one of them gets canceled, we can deal with that. But if 4 or 5 get in there, then it's tough to start scoring everybody. So we'll get those out to you tomorrow. Be sure to enter that. I'll send you an email again to remind you. But John and I enjoy doing it. Don't forget, there's a prize at the end of the season, so definitely get in there and get your picks in and let us know who you think is going to win these 10 matchups here in high school football. But, John, let's run through the polls that came out today and kind of give everybody an update on who's standing where in these SC prep polls. Yeah,
we'll start with 1A, go from the bottom to the top here. Number 10, Baptist Hill. 9, Hannah Pamplico. Big game this week against Lakeview. Number 8, Great Falls. 7th is Lakeview. 6, Blackville Hilda. 5th, Louisville, having a great start. Number 4, Whale Branch. Number 3, Bamberg Earhart. Number 2, Lamar. And number 1, of course, Southside Christian.
Some big games there. So Southside going to Greer. Lakeview, Hannah Pamplico. Great Falls going to Hemingway. A couple of nice matchups there. Rich Spring, Minetta, Louisville. So 1A's got some good action this weekend for sure.
Going into 2A, it's a tie for night between Philip Simmons and Newberry. 8th, you have St. Joseph's. 7th is Andrews. Big game against Marion.
Game 1 for them, correct?
Yes, that is a 3 versus 7 matchup. Number 6 is Barnwell. 5, Silver Bluff. 4 Saluda, 3 Marion, 2 Great Collegiate, and number 1 Abbeville.
I'm interested to see what happens in this Gray Collegiate Ridgeview game. If Gray loses this game, if they're competitive, do they stay at 2? Do they drop it? If they get blown out, do they stay at 2? Do they drop? How much stock do these guys put into just strictly win losses, or to actually look at who they're playing, things like that? So interested to see what happens to that team after this weekend's game. If they win, do they possibly jump Abbeville? So who knows? So interested to see how that poll turns out next week after their game Friday night for sure.
Especially with Marion right behind them.
Yeah.
Playing Andrews. If Marion has a really, really good game against Andrews and Gray gets beat up,
yep.
Maybe do you put Marion number 2?
Yeah, another good 2A matchup. I believe Newberry is playing Chapman this week, so that'll be going to learn a little more about Newberry sitting there at the 9 spot as well. So should be some good ball games in 2A.
Chapman a good team, a big team.
They are. Good running back going into NC State, Bennett Galloway, big time player.
Going into 3A, number 10 is Gilbert. Number 9, Lower Richland checking in. 8 is Clinton. 7 is Annan. 6, the Cheshire Cyclones. 5th, Brooklyn Casey. Number 4, Camden. Number 3, Chapman. Number 2, Dillon, yet to play a game. And number
Not
1
playing this week either.
is Daniel. Nope. And then we go into 4A. And checking at 10th is May River. Hanging in the top 10, and well-deserved, is Catalpa Ridge at 9th.
They took a big tumble, which kind of surprised me losing to a pretty good Greenwood team.
And that's nothing to be ashamed of.
No, and tell you what, and John will get to Greenwood here in a minute, and I've got a big beef with that too, but continue.
We've got South Florence at 8, Beaufort at 7, North Myrtle Beach at 6, Greenwood at 5. I don't know.
You beat what was the number 3 team, and you're number 9, and you go up to only 5. Like, I mean, how do you justify that as a voter? I don't get that.
You got 4 South Point, 3rd Myrtle Beach.
Still not playing a game.
Number 2 Greenville, number 1 AC4, and Greenville has gotten 2 first place votes as well.
Amy mentioned this here. It's a good point as well that all first place teams are unanimous except for 4A, and that's something we've talked about. Like, I don't necessarily agree with it. I could see Abbeville first place, I guess, but you tell me Gray can't get one vote.
I wouldn't mind voting for Gray.
You look at 5A. We've seen Dutch Fork, firsthand now. I can see them getting all of them. Sure, give them to Dutch Fork, sure. But 3A, you're giving them all to Daniel. You don't think Chapman or even Dillon or one of those teams. 1A, I don't know, but that's how it is every year. It seems like no matter what, there's never much discrepancy really in the number 1 teams in these voters, which I don't understand it, but that's how it usually seems to turn out. But
you got Powersville there; they're getting votes, but the 3-0, they played really well.
You look
they're outside the top 10.
You look there at 4A with Greenville; they've got Jailman this week, and I believe Northwestern next week. You win those 2 games, you're telling me these guys aren't worthy of more than 2 first place votes in 4A after beating those teams? So we'll see what happens. But let's go on to 5A now, John.
So the big boys: 10th is Ashley Ridge, 9th is Dorman.
Still too high. I mean, they haven't shown me much. They have not shown me much.
8th is Chapman. And this is kind of weird to me. Chapman, I'm not sure what they did first game. The last week they beat a badly built Belgian team, 56-28. That doesn't do anything for me. But they're in 8th. 7th is Burns, which I think that's about right.
We saw Burns, and we'll hit on some in a minute. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Number 6 is Northwestern. They could be higher.
Yes.
Number 5, Ridgeview, who we will check out Friday night. Number 4 is Gaffney. 3rd, T.L. Hanna. 2nd is Fort Dorchester. And, of course, number 1 is Dutch Fork.
Yeah, and we haven't seen much out of T.L. Hanna that makes me think they're deserving number 3, really. I think they beat Florence pretty close, beat Rim pretty close. I don't know if they played last week or not. If they did, I don't remember what the score was. But that was surprising to me. After seeing Dutch Fork Burns last week, I think Dutch Fork is head and shoulders better than most of the teams in the state, probably all the teams in the state. But Burns is a very good football team, too. They kind of ran out of gas second half, got shut out second half, which kind of surprised me, getting beat 56-25, I believe it was. But they hung in there tough with Dutch Fork for a half. The quarterback, the Rogers kid, has improved 10 times better than what he was last year. He made some really nice throws there. Max Long was a good running back. He got hurt, came out of the game, which kind of hurt them. But
just at the end of the first quarter, and it was 21-13 when Max Long went out of the game, and it was a competitive 21-13.
It was.
At that point, neither team, Dutch Fork, cannot stop Burns.
I think both teams scored their first 3 drives, so that was impressive to see from both sides there. But really good ball game. Dutch Fork is too much firepower.
They are big, strong, physical, and they're talented. The last few years, I think I was wrong. I'm like, oh, they don't have a ton of talent. Actually, they do.
Yeah.
Turns out they did. And I think they have a lot of talent on the team this year. Mm-hmm. But they were big, they were fast, they played fast, they hit hard, they played aggressive. And, you know, some of the play calling late in that second half were like, they were up 49-25 and they were throwing football. Mm-hmm. They threw a wide receiver pass.
Yeah.
I think that attitude, and you can say, we were like, man, come on, that's a little bit rude. But that's how they play.
Yeah.
That attitude trickles throughout the entire team. They play, and you want that.
Yeah,
you want that
for sure.
Football team, especially going up playing a top 10 team on the road.
Yeah.
You want that.
You know, there are rumors that Tom Knoxworth wasn't going to coach. He had some heart surgery, had been sick. But he was there on the sideline. He's like, this is what I do. I coach football. And he was there. So that was nice to see and good for him. And, it was great for those kids to get back on the field after the death of Al-Khatib 2 weeks ago. See them kind of come together and play a good football game there. I saw they put out a tweet this week that they were looking for an opponent for this week. I see nobody took them up on that offer.
Hey, what's I don't think Abbeville's playing this week.
Hey, let's talk
about all those trash.
Abbeville's fans, I'll tell you what, they said they'll play anybody, so we'll see how that goes. But I guess that didn't get put on the schedule. At least it's not yet. But from watching, I've seen 3 of the big boys in 5A now with Dutch Fork, Burns, and Gaffney. It's sad to say, John, but I don't know who's going to play with Dutch Fork again. Gaffney has potential if Loftus comes along, has a really good game, and they keep their running backs going. It's going to be tough for anybody to beat those guys. Very tough for anybody to beat those guys.
In the school, just think about the upstate, from the upper state. Let's see what Northwestern still can do. Because Northwestern's been very impressive so far. They're not getting, they're sitting at 6th in the poll. They're not getting a whole lot of love in the poll. But I think you take Northwestern against Gaffney and Northwestern against Vernon. I'm taking Northwestern. I think Northwestern might be maybe the toughest opponent right now from the upper state side of things. And then down the low country, Dorchester's look awfully good.
Yeah. The defense worries me because I think Dutch Fork is going to score, obviously, but you've got to hold them to 30-something. I don't think you're going to beat them by outscoring them, I don't think, because they've just got too much firepower. The Patterson kid, the Williams kid, Jarvis Green. You got to be able to slow them down. And I don't know if Fort Dorchester has the defense for that. I'm not sure they do or not.
Yeah. But I think the tape that everybody's going to see from that Burns game, they're going to see, okay, you can move the ball on these guys. You can score on these guys. It wasn't garbage. They just said Burns didn't score in the second half.
Yeah.
This game was 42-25 at the half. But Burns is getting the ball to start the second half. If say that's anybody else, say it's Northwestern. If you go down and score to start the second half and you're down 10, a 42-32 game, you're in the ball game.
Yeah,
you're certainly in the ball game at that point. That's easier said than done, of course. But I think they are beatable.
They are.
Burns is good.
It's tough. It's going to take a perfect game to beat them.
Burns is good, but the whole attitude around that game was probably 3 touchdowns behind.
Yeah. So, and they were a little more than that, but that's.
I don't think they counted on Mac Long.
That's true.
Exiting the game in the first quarter because he was having a great start to the game too. And I can't say enough about Gabe Rogers. I thought
so much improved from last year. Yeah.
Antonio Williams at Dutch Fork, he's the best player on the field. And I thought I don't know his name now, the safety, the big safety 29 at Dutch Fork.
Oh yes. What is his name? I'm trying to think. Anyway,
that guy. He played
a good game.
He's one of those players that you see on the field. You're like, that guy is too big to be that fast.
Yeah.
And when he hit somebody, boy, he ran through them. He hit them. I think, in my opinion, at least on the defensive side of the ball, he might have been the second best player on the field. Gabe Rogers, third best player.
He played well. He did play a good game.
He was awesome.
So we'll see if Burns can continue that. I know they play. Who did they play this week? West Side this week, so they should get an easy win there. But then they start rolling in. I think they play Gaffney in 2 weeks, I believe, maybe 3 weeks to play Gaffney. So that'll be a good ball game there between those. Kind of see how that's going to work out. So a lot of good games in the, obviously region play too with Spartanburg, Dorman, and whatnot for those guys. See how that turns out. But here's good football coming up. One more shout out to our sponsors right here before we get out of here. The George Agency, Bradley George, Wayne George, Richard, and the crew there. Serving insurance needs in South Carolina for over 35 years. concentrating on employee benefits and health insurance and office in Mullins and Merle's Inlet. They can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, etc. So wherever you are, they can help. Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew. Give them a call. Check out the georgeagency.net. Then also our sponsor, Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. They have a clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees the other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, Security Advantage is here to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at securitadvantagefcu.com. That's securitadvantagefcu.com. Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. Win at banking, thrive at life. Member NCUA. So shout out to both of those guys for sponsoring our show here. If you guys own a business or want to sponsor something as well, feel free to let us know. Love to have you on board and get your name out there in our social posts on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. But if you guys are tuning in for the first time tonight, we appreciate you for doing that. Like our post, like our page, invite your friends to like our page. That'd be awesome as well. Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Movin' Chains. Our audio-only version comes out later tonight. That's on podcasts. On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and whatnot. And we're everywhere. So love to have you guys tune in and love the comments. That keeps us on our toes, kind of adds some perspective to everything. So we enjoy interacting with you guys. So I'm sure to do that. And if you're at a big game Friday, like Derek at the Lakeview game, or Amy at the Greenville game, or Chris at the Gaffney, Patrick at the Gaffney game, send us some scores and keep us updated because obviously we can't be everywhere at once. So we're going to try to be over at Ridgeview and Gray Collegiate, but we can't be anywhere else. So definitely keep us updated with that stuff. John, any final thoughts here as we go into week 3?
I'm really excited about these big games again with teams traveling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn, Casey, Chapman, those are not games that we typically get to see. I think that's really cool. And we're getting in some good games. Again, every week we've got big games. Marion, Andrews, and it's cool we've got some. I say cool, it's unfortunate, but teams like Andrews haven't played a game yet.
Yeah.
Myrtle Beach hasn't played a game yet.
Yep.
Let's see what they've really got because we think they're really good.
Yeah.
And, the first 3 weeks of the season, we've seen some surprises.
Yes.
So, I'm sure some of these teams that haven't played yet, I'm sure some of them are going to surprise us. Some good, some probably bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good ball games this week. We mentioned throughout every classification. 1A's got 3 or 4 games that will be really good to go to. 2A's got a couple. 3A obviously has the big one there at Chapman, East Clarendon. 4A, 5A all have some big ball games. So definitely keep us updated and get out to a game this Friday night. It should be great weather, so definitely want to get out to one of those for sure. And as always, be sure to join our Pick'em. Get in that. I'll post that tomorrow with the games and the link to get in there. So do that. Share, tell your friends, whatnot. You don't want to miss a week. If you do, like I said, we're dropping the lowest score, but you don't want to miss too many weeks now because it's hard to come back from a 0, John. Hard to come back from a 0. But once again, for John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. Then our Moving the Chains Week 3 preview, and we will talk to you guys next week.